This is our last match review for this evening. This comes from Myouzik, who submitted multiple times before. They have 236 hours, so not a whole lot. Definitely far below that 1K hours where I expect most people to know macro and micro play fundamentals. So you're still learning the game a lot. You initially started with a lot of pinhead submissions, and you've been trying to move on and pick a lot of different other killers. I've noticed when it comes to our match reviews. You're now centered with Skull Merchant, which is a very easy breezy kind of autopilot kind of character. Definitely a very malaligned character based on the community's reactions to her, which is granted considering the fact that some people love her to death and think she can do no wrong, and other people seem to kind of over demonize her. So keep that in mind going in. Either way, in terms of strength particularly, she's kind of just like a middle of the pack, kind of like mid character. She has a fairly low skill floor for the amount of pressure she's able to put on, but she can be, because of the fact that she only can do so much, she can be easily circumvented by good teams. So you're playing on Toba Landing, which is not a very killer-sided map. Toba Landing has this kind of problem where it's like, despite the fact that it's not a fairly large map, because of the fact that it's not a fairly large map, most of the resources are kind of bunched up together. It means they're very easily chainable. Usually the chainability of tiles is something that's kind of a skill expression thing on the survivor's end, but on maps like this, it's kind of way easier to do because the resources are so condensed, and especially when you're a character that at the end of the day is basically an M1 killer, that really hurts you overall. But we can take a look at your add-ons and your perks and see. Hey, you're using... Yeah, these are fine. Yeah, those are okay. That's what a lot of people I see that enjoy Skull Merchant run on her. Rev also secondary Skull Merchant, they said the other day. They put enough time in that they care about it that much, which is funny. Other stuff like Geographic Readout can be nice. That's the one where you can get extra kick under the drone and stuff. Your build's kind of a little all over the place, and since you're new, you probably don't have a great deal of teachables available to you. Got double wrap with Deadlock and Dead Man's batteries included. It's kind of like the odd man out here. There's kind of no reason to have batteries included. If you're looking at general perks, probably like Noed, Sloppy, something else in the slot. Even like with in the head, you have like Plaything, Gift of Pain. You have a lot of better options to put here over batteries included. Lethal's just a good pick for info, but without any other info perk to balance it off of, this is going to become a dead perk slot. Like I said, don't know what you have available to you because you're fairly new, but synergizing Lethal with another info perk is probably ideal. Well, Floods is kind of like the only consistent one that's good across all characters, unfortunately. Astral, Merciless, and Cobb are kind of like character specific. One of those things where unfortunately like the rays are going to be kind of like, okay, and you choose to leave here. Once again, you don't have any like, you don't have a whole lot that really helps you here in terms of that was a quick gen. That's not even necessarily your fault. You should have set that up way earlier if that was what your plan was. Okay. So you use that because you kind of lose track of him, which is smart to be like, oh god, I don't know where he is, to pull that up. Everybody else thinks Skull just chased him. Kind of sounds like somebody cleaning their toilet bowl. You're awesome, Dark. Hope you're well today. You do know that your drones like cycle through, right? I don't know why you grabbed that one. Yeah, this one's gonna go away anyway, because you hooked them right next to it. Alright, yeah, I'm alright. Just doing match reviews. Our last one. The better drones are often best used as kind of like, it's kind of weird to think about as like, you know, Skullmerch just kind of shifted more towards being like kind of like a trap killer. So you kind of want to place her drones more so in a way that you would place hag traps, where it's like, I know people are going to chase through this area, which of course the substitute there is, instead of me, you know, teleporting to them and lunging, it's that they get stacks towards a claw trap. So just kind of putting them out in the open like that, where the place where they may not even go, is kind of risky and wasteful.
Okay.
Because the thing is, like, a drone, while like a drone that's just out in the open while not in chase, doesn't really do a whole lot. And that's something that I think that a lot of Dead by Daylight gamers, we were talking about how it's a very malign character and people overhate her, is like, this is one of those things that like people don't realize, is that drones like really don't do much when they're by themselves. You can just avoid them. Like, if you are out there unpressured by the Skullmerchant, there's no reason you should be getting stacks added to yourself. You just shouldn't. Even if the drone has been made active recently, like just like, this is where we make the joke statement. Like, just go between the rays and turn it off. like it's not like it's not that crazy. It's really not. Like, so yeah, the point being for you specifically, Myouzik, is that the better players you face, the more that will realize that this doesn't do anything outside of chase. So try to put them in areas where you know you'll be chasing, because good players that understand that this character actually has counterplay will not be getting stacks outside of chase at all. I think it's interesting that, like, the rework of Skullmerchant kind of retained a lot of her identity, which we can argue back and forth about whether that's a good thing or not, but she's essentially still, in a sense, an area control killer. She just has a little bit more decision making on like shifting her web as she pleases, you know. But realistically, yeah, that was a really strong palette. I would not have looked that up. I think your idea was that like you were gonna like rely on the drone there, but the drone's not even like in that room, so. I've also realized that despite the fact that you're trying to use the drones to get stacks, you don't really force people back through the arrays. I know there's that that delay there, but like that's kind of the thing that makes Skullmerchant frustrating. That frustrates people so much about the character, is that, yeah, there are things you can do to counter the drones, but realistically, if she's on your ass, like, she can force you into those situations that remove those counterplays. That's why people hate her, is because despite the fact that you may know the counterplay, you may be able to play well against the drone, she can force you into the drone and then you just lose. Like, either you take the M1 or you take the claw, right? Like, that's what the lose-lose situation there is, what makes it frustrating. Effectively, it's like the same as like people not using the melee birds on artist. Like, just playing that normally doesn't make sense, because you can just put the melee bird down and force them into either the M1 from you or the direct damage from the bird. So you should absolutely be doing that. Yeah, like, Rebecca getting clawed there in the background for no reason is silly. That shouldn't be happening. She's just not paying attention. You shouldn't rely on survivors to do that. You're also leaving chase a lot. And especially when your one of your slowdowns, Deadman's, is based off of getting the hook, you should not be, like, split pressuring as much as you are, because you're just not getting value out of that perk. He was going into a dead zone because of your drone. You could have potentially gotten him there. This isn't the worst idea in the world, because you need to get slowdown value. Either way, like we were talking about in this previous match, there's a lot of gen progress on the board right now, even though that number only says 3, so you gotta be careful. Fire. That's strong.
EU.
EU. EU. EU. Thank you for the 26 months, friend. I very much appreciate that. That's very, very sweet. Hope you're well today. EU? European Union? EU? I don't know why you're just like... So, like, if the whole point... Okay, hear me out, right? If the whole point of Skull Merchant is that you're, like, a web killer now, and your whole thing is to set up a web to run people through, kind of like Hag, the fact that you just keep, like, constantly retracting your drones means you're just, like, destroying your own web constantly. So, like, if I asked you right now, you're not in chat, I don't think, unless you're lurking. If I asked you right now, where is your web? I don't think you could tell me. Where is your area that you're trying to pressure, that you're trying to force survivors to chase here? That way you can get a bunch of claw traps, you can get a bunch of haste on you because of it, and bot people. Where is it? I don't think you could tell me. Yeah, I don't think... I think you're kind of like... It's almost like you're playing in a way that kind of like insinuates what people perceive her to be as, and not how she is. Which is like, she's just a very super precious chase killer, which she is, but that is set up by the fact that she has... You're gonna get a triple down here? Okay, she spins you, unfortunately. If you're in a situation where you're gonna get spun on console, just back up. Because the reason that works is because they're taking advantage of the fact that you can't quickly adjust your field of view, but if you back up, they'll still be in field of view. How do you not win this at 2 gens? You should win this at 2. This match goes on for another, like, 5 minutes. This should be a dub. See, like, right there, putting the drone, like, on a wall where the rays, half the rays are covered by the wall at all times, that doesn't do anything for you. Like, he will eventually run back into it because he's here. But, like, if he wasn't already here, that would not be a good drone. He's already clawed, so I don't know why you got the drone back. Like, he already has the drone. This is how. So, this is where we're going to talk about purposeful kicking. Because right here, you have this game won. This game is a dub. And you have made all the right decisions. You have slugged them all out. There's an unbreakable, though. So, you can't beat perks. You got out-perked there. That's not your fault. But, you had this game still in a very, very good spot because you could down Ash here. But for some reason, you decide to vault into Shack and chase from the inside. Purposeful kicking is taking chases and kicking pallets on the side that denies the survivor the most resources. You should have chased him in a way that the pallet drops and he's where you're standing. Because if you kick the pallet from where he is currently, all he has is the back wall of Toba Landing. He doesn't have the whole map to run out into that has all these resources. But because you decide to vault into the shacking and have it and take the chase from the other side, now he essentially gets to put you in jail and lock you into shack. In that case, he can run back, pick up his teammates, and restart the game. Overturn, welcome back. So make sure you're kicking the pallet on the side that denies the survivor the most resources. And for some reason, he runs back there anyway, because he's a goober. Very unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunately, Unbreakable you can't do anything about. Unbreakable you can't counter. You just, unless you, like, there's no way to, like, know it's coming, so there's nothing you can do about it. That gen's already completed. There's no reason to check that. And you don't have to get that close to retrieve a drone. So if you were walking up there to get it, you didn't need to do that. Like, why are we double, like, okay, so let's think about the purpose of the drones, right? Is that they're anti-chase tools. You set them in places that are hot chase beds for you throughout the match. That way you can punish them for chasing in those areas. You already have a drone at Shack right there. You already have one. So this area is already covered in terms of, like, drone placement for a chase. Now, I can see picking this one up and placing another one just to have a better placement. That makes sense to me. But having two in the same area, yeah, that's double coverage. That's a waste. The fact that they're getting scanned while not even being in chase with you is... that's ridiculous. That should not be happening. That is a them thing. I need to match review them. Why did you not go for Ash there? He was injured. Okay, he's just gonna stand here anyway for some reason. Why did he just let you hit him? Why did he do that? Why did he? Oh, he has boilover, so he thinks it's gonna save the day. You should have. Oh. Oh. So, if you're unaware, boil over gives you an additional charge to your wiggle after falling off of a high distance. While the killer is carrying you. There was a slope right behind you. You could have carried him down, and there's a guaranteed hook outside of the front of the Toba Landing ship main building that you definitely could have used. The fact that you just kind of like did this was playing straight into his hands. And luckily for you, there is a hook right here, but that's not a guaranteed spawn, so do not bank on the future. That was very scary. That was a huge risk. Very, very huge risk. Holy moly. Hey, Prodigy. Brent, the Xeno guy. Yeah, you have a lot of double coverage in the same areas with the drones, which kind of defeats the purpose. Luckily, you already have somebody dead, but once again, the double coverage is not necessary. I think you, like, I can understand maybe popping a drone for, like, undetectable here and there, but, like, you seem to just kind of do it willy-nilly. Getting angry with Jansfly? Hey, if you run an endgame build, that's fine. You can not run slowdown, you just have to run, like, endgame. You have to run endgame perks, that way you're playing to the end of the match instead of the heart of it. Singularity? I always find it weird because, like, I know technically the M1 statement just means characters who attacks end in an M1, but I feel like that just like omits so much when you're talking about like somebody like Pinhead or Singularity. Like you could Spirit, another great example. Like technically they're M1 killers, yeah, but that's leaving out so much. By the way, the option to select here was absolutely the right decision, and you knew to do it the first time when you had Ash in chase earlier, and it's good that you knew to do it again. That is a good skill to have. Stopping to kick the totem mid chase though is just gonna let her escape. I don't like that decision. Singularity's great, yeah. It went for somebody I just kind of like casually enjoyed to somebody I would want to consider a secondary or tertiary and get better at. Yeah, your wherewithal or like your macro knowledge to know to slug both those times is what got you this victory. So good stuff in that regard. And thankfully there's, unless there's another Unbreakable, should get you the 4K. And by judging by the wow, this is why the gens were flying, by the way. There's I see Deja Vu, I see BNP. That's why the gens were going fairly quickly. So main takeaways music. Sorry if you're watching the VOD for this instead of the YouTube. I can see you might have to skip ahead a lot. So first off, the main and critical issue that you seem to have is a misunderstanding of what the drones are for. Think of Skull Merchant more as like a web killer, something like Hag or Trapper, that you concentrate on a specific area of the map and lock it down and make it like a nightmare to go through there. Because it seemed that you kind of like put your drones wherever and didn't try to put drones concentratedly in areas where you expected a lot of people to be chasing. So that resulted in you missing out on a lot of like claw trap pressure. Speaking of missing out on a lot of claw trap pressure, your second takeaway is that you seem to double up on areas a lot with your drones. The point of putting a drone in an area is like you chase them through there. They can't dodge through the rays because they're under the effect, like they're either they eat the M1 or they eat the stack, right? So you're forcing them to lose situations. So one drone does that enough. So like the perfect situation is when you were at Shack, where you had a drone at the back door and at the front door. If you just put one drone at the center of Shack, that covers both those areas and you're good. Like you don't need to double up in those situations. Otherwise that's just like yeah, it got reversed, Rev. Now you're coming in to me talking about Skull Merchant. Did I add that to my own stream? Maybe I'll just refer to this as maybe I'll just call it Revium in my stream. And we'll just flip-flop. Yeah, doubling up on drones in the same area is not wise. So it's just the double coverage doesn't benefit you. A third takeaway, and this almost cost you the match. Luckily, you turned it back around. But make sure you're practicing purposeful kicking, because when you decided to take the pallet drop on the inside of Shack instead of the outside, Ash could have easily gotten away and picked up all his friends. Thankfully, one of the Jills had Unbreakables, so she was able to do that independently. But if you had, if that had not been the case, Ash could have easily gotten in over there and picked up his friends. So make sure you're kicking pallets, especially strong pallets like Shack pallet, on the side that denies the survivors the most resources. Yeah.